Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Neha Sangwan. I'll be discussing the topic parts of speech today. Before that, I'll be giving a very brief introduction about the syllabus and how we should go ahead with covering it. If you like it, you can leave it in the comment section. If you want a whole series of it, I'll give you one on the YouTube channel itself. And we can cover the whole syllabus of English via these short yet very effective videos, and it will be just 20-15 minutes videos, and it will be really helpful. If you want, I can give you some questions also in the next videos regarding the parts of speech. Let's move forward with first the syllabus. Okay, so the syllabus of this which is being written out here is that of the AFCAT. The AFCAT in its notification specifies what is going to come in the examination. For example, we're going to have comprehension, the error detection, the sentence completion, the synonyms, antonyms, the closed test, the idioms and phrases, the analogy, the sentence rearranging, and one word substitution. We need to make sure that we are clear on this, that the UPSC does not specify English syllabus examination, English syllabus for a serious examination or NDA for that per se. Okay, so let's move ahead. How normally which we should follow the course of action. The first and the very important, you know, uh, the topics of the whole English examination are parts of speech, conjunctions, verbs, tenses, idioms and phrases, pronouns, and prepositions. Out here, if I need to pick up three most important topics, which are going to be when very important for CDS, NDA, and AFCAT, it's going to be parts of speech, verbs, and tenses. For example, if you look at sentence completion, if you're clear on the concepts of part of speech and verbs and tenses, it's going to help you out there. Same in the case of error detection and everything like that, sentence rearranging. Whereas if you have a look at the topic conjunction, it's a very basic and it's a very, easy topic regarding to all the other topics. And idioms and phrases, I would say it mostly, you can master that only through your practices and reading a lot of idioms here and there and the topics which have been repeated. Pronouns and prepositions are again relatively very easy topics, but parts of speech, verbs, and tenses are very, very important. Okay, let's move ahead. Now, throughout the series, what I'll be doing is I'll be giving a very brief introduction of the topic, and then I'll be explaining a lot of things via examples. Okay, so I would be really happy if you just make down or take down running notes, and then you can go ahead and revise them a day or two prior to examination, and it'll be really helpful for that. Or if you don't really want to write down the definitions and the parts and everything, then I would really suggest that we at least write down examples. Because in English and in maths, if you don't want to memorize the theory or the formulas or stuff like that, by solving a particular example, it will give you a lot of clarity. Okay, so let's move ahead. Parts of speech classify words and based on the function in a sentence. There are eight main parts of speech. Okay, so let's move ahead. One is noun. The second one is a pronoun. Then we have verb, we have adjectives, we have adverb, we have prepositions, we have conjunction, and we have interjections. Now you may notice that pronoun and verb, preposition and conjunction. These four topics are something which are mostly asked in be it in the serious examination or the ND examination. These four topics are repeatedly asked because they're really, really, really important when it comes to sentence completion, when it comes to error detection, and questions like that. So I'll be giving you a very brief introduction of all of these, and via practice, we can master all these eight parts of speech. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay. So we all know, when we started learning about English, when we started learning about how a sentence is basically formed, we have always been told that every sentence has a subject, a verb, and an object. Okay, so look at this: a subject, an object, and verb, and an object. Sorry, a subject, verb, and an object. Also, a subject is something which comes individually, whereas a verb and an object together are called a predicate. Okay. There was once a question asked in ND examination on, in the following sentence, which of the following is a predicate? In that sentence, there was no verb, but there was an object, and there was a collection of verb and object which together forms the predicate. So you're supposed to say that particular word. Okay. Now let's move ahead. Now, if you look at an example, he is a good boy. Now, out here, he is a subject, is a verb, and boy is an object. Normally, the verbs which are there, they are used to define or help the object. Okay. So every verb which you have there is known as the helping verb. You're supposed to, that verb is supposed to give more meaning to the sentence. Okay. So if anybody asks you what's the basic structure of a part of speech, or what is the basic structure of a sentence, you're going to say it has a subject, verb, and an object. Let's move ahead. As I already told you, that there are a subject, object, and a verb. Okay. Now, as I didn't already told you that every sentence has subject, object, and a verb, but a lot of times, for example, in this particular case, we have good boy. Okay. So if you have a very clear look at this, it is not really a subject. Instead, it is a subject complement. I mean, the boy out here is defining what he is. Okay. Now we know that this is a subject. Just a second. This is a subject, this is a verb, and this was supposed to be an object, as most of us, would make a mistake. But if you clearly see that he is a good boy. So out here, the boy represent the he. Okay, so the boy is written to give complementary information about about the subject, which is the he. Okay, so in this particular example, there is no object. Okay, now let's have a look at another example. He is in. Okay, in the first sentence is an adverb. Okay, I'll tell you. Just a second. Yeah. He is in the house. So in basically tells where. An adverb answers the question where. Okay, as you look at the example, he is in the house. So if someone asks, where is he? So you're going to say he is in. Okay. So you're going to say that in is basically the one which answers the question where. So in out here in this sentence is an adverb. Okay. So if you break down in subject, object, and all of those three important things, he is an subject, is an verb, and in is an adverb. Okay. Now let's move ahead. A second example, he is in the house. In the second sentence represents preposition, and house is the object. Okay. He definitely stands for, subject, is stands for verb, in out here, just a second, in out here specifies preposition. Okay. Because we already have a particular answer as to where. Okay, where is he? He is in the house. So out here, the house is the object and in is the preposition. Okay, so it's often said that a lot of teachers, say that, oh, in is used as a preposition, in, at, or, but is used as a, conjunction. So the main aim of, me giving you these two examples is so that you are clear that a same word in different sentences, in one sentence, it can be used as an adverb, and in the second sentence, it can be used as a preposition. Okay, so the preposition basically, as I've already written out here, it tells the relation between the subject and the object. See, he is in relationship the house. Okay? So I hope this is clear. If you have any doubt, please drop it in the comment section. And in the next class, when I'll continue, I'll answer all your doubts. Okay? An adverb, as I already told you, answers the question where. Okay. So these things are really important. Okay. When you move ahead, when you have, parts of speech questions where you're supposed to tell if that particular word, which is being underlined in question, is an adverb, is in proposition, is, an adjective, or what it is exactly. So if you have a very clear understanding of the parts of speech basic, then only you can solve those questions. Otherwise, the moment you're going to see in, you're going to tick on the option which says preposition. Okay. So please go through these. You can rewind and you can listen to these two examples explanation again, but make this clear in your head. Now let's move ahead to another example. Ria is playing in the park. Now, please, no doubt here. Ria is an example. Ria is an a subject out here. Okay. So nobody has a doubt in, at least picking up the subject, I think. Okay. So Ria is a subject. Is in verb. We've always been told that verbs are action words. Verb shows action. Okay, so the verb in this sentence is. If you translate it, it says kar rahi hai. Karna basically means action, displays verb. Okay. Now we have in the park here displays an adverb phrase. Okay. Now, if somebody asks, so where is Ria? So, they're gonna say Ria is playing in the park. So it is answering the question where, but it is answering in very detail. Or it is, answering in a couple of words. It's not in, where very if it were a sentence like Ria is in park, for example. Now I'll just write it down just a second. If it were a sentence like here, Ria is in park. So this is the subject, this is the verb, this would have been object. Okay. So if this were a question, so this would have also been an adverb because this answers the question where. Okay. Whereas in this, it's giving a very detailed explanation. It's playing in the park. What is Ria doing? It is answering the question what as well. Okay. So that is the reason why it's called an adverb phrase. An adverb phrase is nothing but something which gives the answer of the question where, but in a very detailed way or in, more than one word. Okay. So that is the reason why it's called an adverb phrase. Let's move ahead to another example. Okay, so this one is I would like for you to solve it. Ria is playing football in the park. I would really like to know in the comment section what is Ria. I really don't think anyone will get this one wrong. What is playing in this sentence and what is football in the park? Okay, I would really like to see as many comments in the comment section which are answering this particular example. In the next video, I'll give you what the answer is of this. Okay, now let's move ahead. Yes, the laptop is lying on the bed. Okay. As I already told you that, a sentence has two, a subject and a predicate. Now, every sentence, if there is a sentence, it has a subject and a predicate. A predicate is basically nothing but verb plus object, and subject is, just the subject. But now, if you have a look at it in a very detailed manner, a subject is a thing which the sentence is about. Okay. In this, if you have a look, all the sentence is about a laptop, as in, where the laptop is, where is, or what is it doing on the bed? It is lying on the bed. So all this whole sentence is about the laptop. So out here, laptop is basically a subject in this sentence. Okay, and then we have a predicate which tells about the subject, as in the out here is an article. Okay, we all know this is very easy. Is lying on the bed is a predicate. Now, this predicate is divided into two, an object and a verb. we all know is a verb. Lying on the bed is something which answers the question where. So it turns out to be an adverb phrase. Okay. I hope this is clear, and we are clear, like, we are crystal clear on what exactly is meant by, a subject and a predicate, and how you can identify what is a verb and what is an object and what is a subject in a particular sentence. Now let's move ahead. This is your homework. I need its answers again in the comment section. Sham will retire after 20 years. What is Sham? Everybody knows a subject. What is, the other part of the sentence? What is will? What is retire? What is after 20 years? Okay. So I really want as many engagement in the comment section as possible. And I really want you to answer this. Okay. Let's move ahead. Okay. So doubts and recap. So let's, rewind what we actually learned today. So first of all, we went through the syllabus, which is, specified in the notifications and everything. Now let's moving ahead. We talked about a sentence. How a sentence has a subject, it has an object, and it has a verb. Verb is an action word. Okay. A subject is the main part of the sentence. It is basically the main character of the sentence. Okay, this is what the whole sentence is about. The object just gives extra information about the subject. Simple. We know about the subject, we know about the predicate, we know what and how to identify an object, how to identify an adverb phrase, how to distinguish if in is used as an adverb, if it's used as a preposition. And we have learned about, how you can use all these things in questions which ask you to tell if it's a adverb or preposition or adjective, etc. Okay, so this is all for the first class. In the next class, I'll come up with examples and, a little bit more varied examples, which are little unconventional, and which are some things which normally people skip. And those are the things which are again and again asked via the exam paper setters. That's what comes in the examinations. Okay. So if you have any doubts, please drop them in the comment section. And I really want you to answer these two questions in the comment section. And I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.